Luis says, I just saw a clip from the press conference where Jed York announced he had fired Trent Baalke and Chip Kelly. Oh boy, how uncomfortable he was with Lowell's questions. Say something. You are my hero. Luis from Mexico, who just gave us 150 pesos. Thank you so much. Gave me.
Muchas gracias,
you don't get
Luis.
it. Muchas gracias. It's funny. This is actually our last topic. You predicted it. Let's talk about it. That video just got resurfaced. East Bay Chris, the legend on Twitter, brought it back. And it's one of my favorite moments of your career. I've always loved it. It's nice that we could see it again. My question to you is, after it's been 4 years, watching it again, how did it make you feel? How did it make you feel watching it?
I didn't watch it again. I got to tell you what happened. First of all, we need to say what happened.
Sure.
That day. But before we get to it, what happened was I saw that East Bay Chris put it up on Twitter, and there's been a lot of chatter on Twitter about what happened. I haven't, I'm retired. I haven't really thought about it, but I didn't rewatch it. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't rewatch it. But we did decide to talk about it today. So let's set up what happened. First of all, we were in the auditorium at Levi's Stadium, which is a beautiful auditorium. And it's one of these things where, like a play, it slopes down.
Yes.
Right, Iggy? It's like a
gorgeous, high school theater. Really nice.
And you could put on a play in there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a stage and everything, and it slopes down. And Iggy and I always sat front row center.
That's right.
Because you want them to know we're here. You got to deal with us. Yeah. So you don't sit in the back, and you're in charge.
Yeah. You're not trying to hide.
You're not going to hide. What it says to Jed or to Jim Harbaugh or to John Gruden, Lowell and Iggy are here. You got to deal with us.
Yeah.
Al Davis, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened, as I recall, Iggy, Jed had just fired Chip Kelly and Trent Baalke.
Yes. So it was the third firing in a row. It was the third offseason in a row where Jed had to have this, it didn't go the way we wanted, but we're going to get back on track. The third year in a row.
And Iggy, they had won 2 games with Chip Kelly.
Oh, yeah. 2
games, and 2-14. And so he had fired Chip Kelly,
Harbaugh.
And before that was the Butcher.
And then the mutual parting with Jim Harbaugh.
The mutual parting. The amicable mutual parting
with
Jim Harbaugh. And Jed had always used to say things like, hold me accountable. He had never in his life, as far as I can tell, been held accountable for anything. Maybe when he was a kid, he had to put his toys away. I don't know. But
I would assume that.
Yeah. So we were sitting front row center, and I felt that the questions from my friends, the media, were too polite. That what I believe journalists do is speak truth to power and put power on the spot. He was there to be answerable to us. We were not there to make him feel good about being a failure.
Ooh.
It's not my job. What?
You're the best. I love you. I wish you.
But I'm right.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So they were asking all these questions, and in order to speak, you had to put your hand up to get the microphone. And it was 50-50 if those people would give me the microphone, because they were scared of me, the PR guys. But I got the microphone, and Iggy was on my right, and I tapped his knee, and I said, watch this.
Oh, man. Okay.
I said, watch this. And then I haven't watched the video, as I recalled. I said, you just fired this one and that one. And he started to argue with me and say, well, I didn't really fire him. I said, you did. You did. Yeah. And then I said, based on that, and you wanted to be accountable, why don't you fire yourself? And Iggy, when I asked the question, I thought it was a fair question. Now,
hold on. He goes, well, I don't know what you want me to say. And it's before he finished saying those 5 words, he goes, say something. It was
say something
so good. And he was like, okay, this is on national television. Let me do the best that I can. It was really funny.
And then he said, you can't fire the owner.
That's the best thing. You asked him a question he wasn't prepared for. It was the best question. And when you get the question they're not prepared for, you get an answer they didn't prepare to give, and they say something that they didn't want to say. And in that case, it was, you don't fire the owner, which is probably the most famous thing he's ever said publicly. Great job.
And also, Iggy, they say the truth.
Yeah, they say the truth.
They're not prepared. Yeah. And his answer was, I'm privileged.
Right, because what he was saying was, hold me accountable. And you're saying, all right, I'm holding you accountable right now. Fire yourself. And he's like, yeah, not like that. we're not actually holding me accountable here. It's just a slogan that I say because I'm privileged.
Yeah, when I say it, it's bullshit. It's bull.
You can say it. It's all right.
Anyway, it's BS.
It's
You're allowed to say that?
Yeah, you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Jed, that was fun.
That was great fun. To see that. So here's the thing.
Yes.
I want to, viewers at home, I don't dislike Jed. I don't like him, but I don't dislike him. And whenever we bump into each other, which is occasionally, we go out of our way to be polite to each other.
True.
We do. We go out of our way to be polite. How are things? Although he never uses my name. He can't be that polite, but who cares?
But that doesn't mean he's nice or that he's polite or that he likes you. That just means that he's smartened up. I mean, there's no reason to have you as an enemy. That's a big mistake.
Iggy, I'm sure he can't stand me.
Oh, you kidding? No.
I'm sure he can't stand me.
But
we go out of our way to be civilized with each other. But when I asked that question, it was not because I disliked him. It's because it was a fair question and I don't respect him. I didn't. I may respect him a little more now. He seems to be doing well. Well, they didn't do well last season, but he seems to have improved. But at that point, Iggy, he was a total failure.
Yeah.
He was a total failure. And
it's not your job to see it from his perspective, see his narrative.
No, and he didn't deserve all the pussyfooting around that I thought was going on. He deserved a right cross from George Foreman in the puss.
And he got it. And to his credit, he stood up.
Yeah, he didn't start crying or anything.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, man. Will says Sherm shouldn't even be in the conversation. He doesn't fit the scheme and can't keep up. We have cap space to go after anyone to fit us in free agency. Thank you, Will. He shouldn't even be in the conversation. The only reason he is because I think he's putting himself there.
I agree. In fact, he's so much not in the conversation. Let's not talk about him anymore.
Ever again. Cornerback number 25. Those are all of our topics for today. Anything else in your mind you want to talk about?
No, I have to say I did enjoy talking about Jed, and it's part of it is to explain how a journalist think. Now, I'm sure I made some of the other journalists uncomfortable. Iggy, Ira Miller would have asked that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And if certain journalists want to work with Jed and see things from Jed's perspective, that's their prerogative. You don't have to work that way. That's their choice. And maybe they're right, but you see it a different way.
And again, for aspiring journalists out there now, I think you have to be civilized in press conferences, but you don't have to kiss up. You don't have to be nice. Nice is overrated. You have to speak the truth, and you have to ask a question if it's deserved. And in this case, Jed deserved it because he was an abject failure. You have to ask a question about his being an abject failure and let him give him the chance to talk about it.
Not because you have to, but also he asked for it. He asked for it. Hold me accountable. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Here's what it feels like to be held accountable.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what you want me to say. Say something. Ooh, that was good. That was so good. Yeah,
so Iggy, when it was happening and I said, hey, watch this, and then I was doing it, what were you feeling?
I love my dad. I love him so much. I'm so proud of him because it would be rough if you were like this tough guy in print, but in those situations you back down and be like, oh no, like my dad's a fraud, but you're not. I mean, there's some great moments. There was when I was in college, about 20 years old, I interviewed Dusty Baker. Just some like really
spring training.
It was like I was 20, just getting used to not being starstruck around people. And I asked him like, who are your favorite musicians, stuff like that. And so before he's like, yeah, I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. Because I'd met him when I was like 5, 6 years old. So he takes me to the side. It takes me aside before we start. He goes, hey, you know your dad isn't afraid of shit, and I've seen it, right? I was like, what? He's like, oh yeah, man, he's not afraid of shit, and I've seen it. He's like, you're a legend, and he loved it. He's like, I just want to tell you that your dad's amazing. Like, thank you, Dusty. And then the other one was before Twitter, really, like before social media. This was when I was in college, about the same time. When Singletary, we've told this story before, but I love it. When Singletary was the coach, he didn't lose that much. He was kind of an 8-8 guy, and he was always underwhelming. He had a good team, and he was going he had his Wednesday weekly thing.
Monday. It was
Monday, whatever. And he was going on like a motivational speech, like we're going to be better and we're going to step up. And
I want winners.
And you stopped. He's like, coach, all due respect, being very motivational right now. We're not your players. You know, we're not your players. Why are you so confident that you're going to turn this around? Why are you so confident? And he was like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Lowell Cohn. It was so good. And he went on and on and on. And it was, that was the original one where it was a very, like, you know, the needle gets scratched off the record. It's like, what just happened? And it was really cool. But that was like 2009. That was the original one that I remember. I'm sure there was like incidents like this with you and people all the time in the 80s that aren't on YouTube. It's too bad. But yeah, that was the one.
Singletary and I became quite friendly. I don't mean friends. I'm never friends with them. But he was a Hall of Fame player. He was a tough guy. He appreciated tough guys. So did Harbaugh. Harbaugh, of all of them, liked you and me the best because we challenged him.
Yeah, another guy who's like that, John Lynch.